Welcome back to another episode, you all, of Tax Talk Live. We are live here streaming on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. We're going to go ahead and get right into today's episode of Tax Talk Live. And you all know what we're here for. We're talking about how can we effectively navigate the U.S. income tax system more effectively. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. I know last week there were a couple of questions that really kind of made me dig a little bit. And so there was one question in particular that talked about the Fresh Start Program. And so I wanted to go and take a look at that. I wanted to really understand, what is the Fresh Start Program? When did this come into existence by the IRS? And so I want to share with you all just some information that's available for those taxpayers that may be struggling, that may be having challenges with meeting their tax liability obligations. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Up here on your screen, we're looking at, this is taking us back, just to give you a little bit of background, but we're looking at the press release that came out in 2011, February of 2011. And this was, again, released by the IRS to announce a series of new steps that would help individuals get a fresh start with their tax liabilities. And so this focused on both individuals and small businesses, helping them to meet their tax obligations. And this is without adding any unnecessary burden or undue burden to those taxpayers. So the IRS announced a number of specific policies and programs to help taxpayers, get back, on their feet, get back on even ground and avoid tax liens. And now, quite naturally, tax liens is when the IRS impose a lien against your assets. And so this came out in 2011. So let's go ahead and jump up to where we are today. Where are we today when it comes to taxes? And so, of course, you already know I did my homework. I had to go and get the information. And so I want to start out with this article that I saw in the Miami Herald. You all know I like the IRS website as official information, and I have that coming up, so just bear with me. But I really like this article that Allison Martin Banks did. And this was just last month, the month of April. So Allison did an excellent job when it comes to talking about what is the Internal Revenue Service Fresh Start Program. And so some key information I want to share with you, I want to touch on really quick, that talks about the initiative. And so when we look at the Fresh Start initiative, we understand that it's not a single remedy. So there's a collection of remedies. The IRS have multiple remedies that are designed to provide relief. And this is to those taxpayers that are distressed or in distressed situations. So that's kind of the overall, there's a lot of details, here for you all to take advantage of. Focus on some of the high level information. And so how does the initiative work? So let's look at what are some of the options in terms of how does this initiative work. So let's look at the first one, the short-term payment plan. And so for those of you, this is available to taxpayers, got it, who owe less than $100,000 and can pay, they can remit payment in full within 120 days. And so the short-term payment plan is for those individuals. Now, they also have a long-term payment plan. And this option gives you a repayment period of up to 72 months. And this is for those individuals that owe $50,000 or less. And so the maximum allowable term actually drops to 60 months if you owe $25,000 or less. And now this is where it gets interesting. If your business, if you have that business, so those entrepreneurs out there, those investors, if your business owes $25,000 or less, then the repayment period is capped. So it's fixed at 24 months. And also they have an extended term repayment program. And so just wanted to put that out there. There's also a partial payment plan that's also out there as well. But I'm going to go ahead and jump down to some of the other relief options that are available by the IRS. And I really, really like this. And so I want to encourage you all who are having challenges, with your tax liability. Lock into this information that I'm giving you all. Lock into what's being put out there, because it's definitely going to help you. So let's look at some of the other options that are available under the program. So we see the offer and compromise, also known as OIC. This is available to taxpayers who cannot pay back taxes due to limited assets or income. And so I want to make sure you're very clear on that. This is for those individuals who cannot pay back taxes due to limited assets or either income. And now, if you're approved, because you have to be approved. So this is like you make an offer and that has to be approved. So there's some set criteria you have to go through. But keyword, offer and compromise. And if you think you fit that and you can't pay your back taxes, definitely look into this. But if you're approved, the offer and compromise, the IRS lets you settle your debt for a percentage. Get this, a percentage of the total amount you owe. So you don't even have to pay the full amount. So the IRS lets you settle your debt for a percentage of the total amount you owe. And so it's very, very powerful. And you definitely, if you owe back taxes, look into that as soon as possible. Now, payments are remitted. You have to pay as a lump sum over 5 months, or monthly payments over 24 months. And so I want to make sure you're clear on that. You have to pay as a lump sum over 5 months, or either monthly for 24 months. And this is for the offer and compromise. So make sure you look into that. And also you want to look into who qualifies for the Internal Revenue Service Fresh Start Program. And so looking at who qualifies, it tells you, can any taxpayer apply for the IRS Fresh Start initiative? No, not necessarily. So you need to owe back taxes. And there are also a lot of other eligibility guidelines you must adhere to. So again, I want to just say, hey, this was a great article. There's a lot of great information in here that was done again by Allison over at the Miami Herald, and very, very good information. So now you already know I'm going directly to the IRS website. This is where we get all of our information from. Although that was a good article, I want to take you to the source, the main source of where to get your information. And so you should be with me on the screen now. This is the IRS's website. And so this is where you get official information from the IRS on getting help with your tax debts. So if you owe tax debt and you can't pay all or part of it, the IRS is here to help you. They can help you with options to resolve your tax bill. And so there's a number of remedies that we just talked about in the article. So let's see exactly what the IRS provide. So they allow you to pay over time. We just looked at the different options in paying over time in the previous article. So you want to come here to the IRS website and you want to look at the pay over time and you apply for a payment plan. That's basically what it is. You apply for a payment plan, and this can also be done installments or online payment agreements to pay off your balance over time. Now, some fees may apply. And so also you want to look at the different options to pay over time. Make sure you explore all the options to pay over time. So come here, click on the link, and you should be able to check it out to see about paying over time. Now let's get back to what we just talked about, an offer and compromise. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you're getting it directly from the IRS's website. An offer and compromise allows you to settle your tax debts for less than you owe. I mean, is that relief or what? You're able to settle your tax debts for less than you owe. And I know a lot of you all that may be in that situation where you owe back taxes. You need to jump on this as soon as possible. You need to look into this. You need to see if you're eligible for an offer in compromise. So there's also other remedies that they look at that talks about, delaying collection. So if you can't pay, if you can't afford to pay because of your financial condition, you can ask the IRS to delay collection. And so there's a lot of things that you'll find here. If you're in bankruptcy, there's options. You can let the IRS know, and immediately they can, provide some support to temporarily stop collections. And so there's a number here for that. And so getting help, there's several remedies I want you all to look into. There's phone numbers here you can contact. So the IRS has a number here that's 833-678-7020. So you call the phone number that's on your notice, or either you contact them at this number and you may be offered a callback option so you don't have to wait on hold. Also, there's also in-person help. And so, again, I won't go through all of them. We don't have time to go through all of them, but I wanted to put them on the screen for you all to just be aware that there are options out there for you, and there are remedies to help you resolve your tax bill. All right. And so again, I want to thank you all for that question last week that, made me go and dig in and do my homework. Again, I told you all, if I don't know something, I'm going to go and find the answer. And I hope this is extremely helpful for you all. So let's go ahead and pivot to something that's very, very important. We're still talking about how can we get to the money? How do we focus on not leaving any money on the table when it comes to our taxes? Got me? So when we look at the IRS website, again, that's what we're staying at. That's our official source of information. We don't deviate from the IRS's website. So the child tax credit, this is for families. So families, I want you all to listen up. I want you all to lock in. I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. Make sure that you don't leave your child tax credit on the table. Make sure that you get this tax break. And this is to help families that have a qualifying child to get a tax break every single year. You have to qualify quite naturally. Now, you can claim the child tax credit for each qualifying child. So if you have more than one child, then you can claim it for each qualifying child who has a social security number that is valid for employment in the U.S. So having a social security number, making sure that you qualify. Now, what do you need to do to qualify? That's what we want to get into, right? To be a qualifying child for the year, the 2023 tax year, your dependent generally must follow or meet these requirements. The first one is be under age 17 at the end of the year. And so that child has to be under the age of 17 by December 31st of 2023. Got me? All right. Now, this is where it gets very interesting at. This can be your son, your daughter, your stepchild, an eligible foster child, brother, sister, stepbrother, stepsister, half brother, half sister, or a descendant of one of these groups. For example, a grandchild, niece, or nephew. Now, so the IRS just laid it out. They made it very, very clear on the qualifications. And see, you can see the rest of them here. I'm just going to touch on one that's very important. And this is you provide it. And you can provide proof that you provided no more than half of their financial support during the year of 2023. And also they've lived with you for more than half the year, which is for more than 6 months. So make sure you go through and you look at how to qualify. You don't want to leave that money on the table. And it's very, very important. I want to touch on the income qualification. So you qualify for the full amount of the 2023 child tax credit for each qualifying child if you meet all the eligibility factors and criteria. And get this, your annual income is not more than $200,000. This is individually, and jointly $400,000 if you're filing a joint return. So this covers a lot of people with children, and don't leave this money on the table. So that's the qualification criteria. Now, we're deep into the IRS website, and there was recently an update. And so I just want to share this with you as well. I'm going to pivot over on the screen so you should be able to see this. So there was an update to additional child tax credit amounts in 2023, publication 17. Again, you all see we're still on the IRS website. And so this is very important, right? So the enhanced child credit allowed for qualifying children under age 6 and children under age 18 has expired. This is what they're saying, has expired. So for 2023, you see it highlighted here on the screen, people. For 2023, the initial amount of the child tax credit, the CTC, is $2,000 for each qualifying child. The credit amount begins to phase out when your modified AGI. So when we're talking about modified AGI, we're talking about your modified adjusted gross income exceeds $200,000. Going back to the example we just saw, but also $400,000 in the case of a joint return. So the amount of the child tax credit can be claimed as a refundable credit is limited as it was in 2020, except the maximum amount for each qualifying child. So again, make sure you bring this up when you're discussing this information with your tax professional, and make sure when we're talking about the child tax credits, when we're talking about not leaving money on the table, you bring this up and you make sure you get your benefits. You make sure you understand the qualifications. You make sure you don't leave that on the table. So I wanted to touch on those two things. We just touched on something very, very important really quick. We hit it fast, but I know it's a lot of information. I want you all to go to the IRS's frequently asked questions website, right? You'll be able to get a lot of these information that I shared with you today and so much more for your personal situation. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into question and answer session right now. We're going to go ahead and look at what are our first questions that we have. I see here there's a question on the screen that says, what other tax credits can families receive from the IRS? And that's a great question. What other tax credits can families receive? And so I want you all to take a look at the screen. I'm going to put something up real quick. And so you should be able to see this that I have on the screen. Let me go back. All right, there we go. So when we look at other credits, so other credits for family, if you qualify for the child tax credit, you may also qualify for these tax credits: child and dependent care credit, earned income tax credit, that's a big one, adoption credit and adoption assistance programs, and also the education credits. And also you may qualify for the credit for other dependents for a child dependent who is not a qualified child for the purposes of the child tax credit. So very good question that you just asked. And I wanted to show you all from the IRS's website so that you can go back and you can see all of these are links so that you can go back and you can check this information. Next question. It talks about if my income, so if your income was $150,000 and I meet all eligibility criteria, do I qualify for the full 2023 child tax credit for each qualifying child? The simple answer is yes. If your income was 150,000 or below and you meet all eligibility criteria for a qualifying child, yes, you're able to get that child tax credit. Now, the limitation goes up to 200,000 and it's 400,000 if you're filing jointly. So 150,000, you're below the threshold and you are eligible to receive that child tax credit. Great question. Next question. So it talks about here, are non-US citizens eligible for these benefits? And the short answer to that question is no. This is for eligible individuals that have a social security number. Now, I want to show you something here. When we go back to who qualifies, so I want to show you very, very important on the IRS's website, so that you'll get it straight from the website. So let's look at here. What's actually, let's look at what's on the screen. All right, let me go back. Okay, here we go. Have been, so who qualifies? You have been a U.S. citizen, U.S. national, or U.S. resident alien. So these are the three individuals who qualify for the child tax credit. And I wanted to show you all, I could tell you, but I want to show you from the IRS's website, because it's not about me giving you the information. It's about me directing you, guiding you, showing you where to go and find the information, because there's a lot more information in the IRS website than we have time to go over. So at your leisure, you can go back and check this information. Let's move to the next question. Okay, so the next question talks about what options does the IRS offer for resolving outstanding tax bills? And so again, just simply put, the IRS have a number of options that they provide. I talked about these early in the video. So you can pay over time. And if you pay over time, there are a number of options that you're able to look at when you pay over time. For example, there's a short-term payment plan. There's also an extended term repayment plan, as well as there's a long-term payment plan, and even a partial payment plan. So there are a number of options the IRS provides. Also, there's an offer in compromise that they allow you to settle your tax debt for less than you owe. So that's very important, especially for those of you who have back taxes. And also, you can ask the IRS based on certain financial conditions. You can ask them to delay collection. There's also requesting spouse relief. If you're in bankruptcy, there's options. And so there's a number of things there that the IRS provides that will allow you to have relief and support. So let's go ahead and get to the last question we're going to be taking, that talks about, can you explain what an offer and compromise is? And so by all means, let's go to the IRS's website and take a look at what the IRS says about the offer and compromise. All right, okay, so let's see here. Let's scroll down so you all can see when we talk about an offer and compromise. This is the IRS's website. So you have to see if you're eligible. So once we click here to see if we're eligible, it's going to bring up a different screen. So we talk about the IRS's website, and the offer and compromise goes into detail. And so the offer and compromise here It allows you to settle your tax debt for less than the full amount you owe. And it may be a legitimate option if you can't pay your full tax liability, or if doing so will create a financial hardship. And so the IRS considers a unique set of facts. Again, a unique set of facts. So this is factual information they're going to consider, and circumstances such as your ability to pay, your income, your expenses, and your asset equity. And so this has to be approved. The IRS generally approve an offer in compromise when the amount you offer represents the most that the IRS can expect to collect within a reasonable period of time. And so there's also other information below that talks about who is eligible, and if you apply and you're not eligible, and how to submit your application. So go to the IRS's website and get this information so that you can improve your tax situation and be on the right path to financial freedom. So I definitely wanted to, appreciate you all for sending in questions in advance. Thank you all for tuning in with us. I want to, recommend, and I want to encourage you all to tune in with us. Tune in with us each and every Saturday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And also for those of you who are seeking more specific strategies, you're seeking direct guidance for your situation, we have Tax Talk Premium, which is our premier program that allows us to work with you one-on-one. So we'll go ahead, and I'll ask the team to post a link, put the link in the comment section, one of our teams, so that you all can see that link and you're able to take that and go directly to our site, and we can work with you one-on-one. We can coach you. We can give you the right guidance, because this information is maybe not a hot topic for everybody. We're not trying to teach you how to be tax experts. We truly have a passion for taxes. We truly don't want to leave any money on the table. We don't want to see you leave money on the table. And so we have Tax Talk Premium that's going to be able to assist you and give you one-on-one guidance and give you advice in how to navigate more effectively the U.S. income tax system and improve your individual or either your business tax liability, or either both. So we have that option out there available for you all. And I want to say thank you to the Tax Talk Premium family, for those who've already, taken advantage of Tax Talk Premium and have already start receiving benefits. There's so much more in store that we have for you. And, just stay locked in, stay tuned in with us, and we'll see you at the top. So I want to thank you all again for tuning in with us. And this has been, episode 12 of Tax Talk Live. And we'll see you same time, same place right here next week. Thank you all. See you next time.